I don't think this mayor's going to reappoint.
We are back. It is our final segment this morning with our guests from Open Table talking about the issue of homelessness, and we don't have a breakthrough.
No.
No. You've been talking about this for how long? What are you, 24, 25 years old?
Yeah, right.
And you've been doing this for most of your life?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I have been working in the area of homelessness for the majority of my career in one shape or another, and I've been doing this for a lot longer than I really want to admit that to.
Yeah, well, no.
Yeah,
I mean, thank goodness for you being committed to that. I think it's wonderful. But have you seen it get worse?
No.
It's
yes, I've seen it get worse. I have seen it. I've seen things that have worked in the past, but what is happening now is literally a boom in real estate that has literally taken away things. And again, I said earlier, it's like musical chairs. You know, we keep taking away, potential housing, and then taking away the options for people of where they can go, and there is nothing left. So it has become more and more difficult to get people actually into housing. There's a low barrier housing collective that's done a great job at recruiting landlords, and those landlords in Nashville represent over 14,000 units of housing. That sounds great. Let's house all these people. We got 14,000 units of housing. What they don't understand is that most of those units are already filled, and anywhere from 150-ish to 160 units come open every month that people can get into. That sounds great. Why are those units coming open? They're low-income housing, so they're coming open not because people are moving on to better places. They're coming open because those people got evicted.
Yeah. Or they died.
Or they died. So it's a revolving door.
It is, and there are people being evicted all the time.
All the time.
Like I said, the story I did in Murfreesboro, and these are veterans.
Yeah.
Veterans. The owner of the property they're in sold it, and there's someone new coming in, and they're going to fix it up, and they've all been given 2 months' notice to get out.
Oh, 2 months. That's great.
Yeah,
because that's more than a lot of them
get, and then by the time they get out, and you know what? They're being held to their lease also. Meaning if they found something sooner to leave, they'd still be held to, I'd tell them, come get me. And if I'm on that jury, that landlord's not getting a cent. But I mean, you know what I mean? We're evicting you in 2 months, but if you find something a month from now, you can take that, but you still have to pay me the remaining month instead of letting them out of their lease.
And
Some of these people are awful.
People can't afford that.
Oh yeah, and the person that requires that, but I'm a landlord, I gotta make money. You are a rat. Let's go next to Kathy. Kathy, good morning. Hi, Kathy.
Yes, I just want to say that this is not just a Davidson County problem, because yes, it started here in Nashville, but this homeless situation is going to spread throughout the entire state. There's only so much room in Nashville, okay? And all of these rich contractors is coming out here buying all this property, and these dirty politicians taking this hand-off money is all gonna bust heads wide open, and the poor homeless people are gonna be in the arms of Abraham. The Lord said, what you do to the least of these, you do to me.
Okay, I couldn't understand everything she said at the end, but she's upset, and she says it's just going to get worse, and she's echoing much what we were just saying.
Yes, what she's saying is that it's going to continue because there's not enough housing. And again, you look at Airbnb issues and people coming in, development companies buying houses, buying apartments, buying things, buying up everything that is available to turn them into Airbnbs or to rent them out. There's not enough. And if we continue to allow that to happen without building more housing units, specifically for people who have housing vouchers, things that will help them pay their rent to stabilize them, if we're not building those units, then we've run out. She's right.
Let's go. We have another caller on line too. Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Hi there. Go ahead.
Yes, I also have a question, and it may come across wrong, but what about the people, like just the blue-collar workers who are here in Nashville who can't, it's killing us to see people are homeless, and we do what we can do, but it feels like Nashville became such a different city. It's pushing out the lower and middle-class people, too.
No, she's right. I talked about that earlier, caller. You're correct. It's like if the lawmakers aren't really addressing it for the homeless, they're not addressing it for the very people she was just talking about, too, a tier above, who maybe aren't yet homeless, but maybe are on the path toward that, who are blue-collar, middle-class workers that are being priced out, and they're either going to have to move away or they're going to end up homeless themselves.
For sure.
And so, right, is it, I mean, and you see that with some of the homeless you encounter out in outreach, that there's some folks who maybe just last month realized the landlord was raising the rent or evicting them, and now all of a sudden they're on the streets or living in their car.
Absolutely. And we don't have safety net systems that support folks. And, what the caller said is absolutely right. We have, workforce people, firefighters, teachers. Like, these are the people in Nashville who can't afford to live here anymore. The people that take care of our city and, have what we've all considered to be really good paying jobs for, used to be good paying jobs.
Yeah, or not enough. All right, so there's many callers this morning calling in, and I sense a lot of them, their hearts are in the right place and want to help. So what do you recommend? I mean, we've been in this quandary for years. Homelessness is an issue that's been around since mankind's been around, humankind. So what can any of our viewers do to assist with this problem? What would you say? Vote? Okay, vote.
Today.
So does that mean that means
tomorrow?
tomorrow,
go vote.
Meaning vote for candidates or vote, let your lawmaker, whoever, Republican, Democrat, know that homelessness is an important issue for you, and you want them to address it in a manner other than passing laws restricting where someone can be.
One of the problems that we see across this country is that people, blue-collar workers, have become very conservative, and they vote for politicians who sound great to them, but in reality, they're voting against their own self-interest. They are barely hanging on, and there is no safety net. There's no safety net because the politicians have taken it away. There used to be the ability to get help when you needed it. There is no longer because
And what kind of safety net would that have been? Just
there are
in the old days that have gone away.
There were lots of places that would do rental assistance and things. And they still exist, but they're limited in what they can do. And the need has become so overwhelming that they're underfunded and they cannot.
Metro
continue.
Action Commission is swamped.
They're swamped.
Oh yeah.
They've been that way for years.
That's true.
Years ago, before the problem was so as dire as it is today, by the third of the month, Metro Action was out of money. So if you weren't able to get in those first 3 days of the month, you still couldn't get any help. They've gotten more money because of COVID, and lots of things have happened. There's been a lot of improvement with the COVID relief dollars, and that's been great. But those are going to go away. They're not going to be there forever. We need sustainable solutions.
So in the big picture, obviously, you vote, make sure your lawmakers know that. On a much smaller scale, we talked about the contributor or talked about bringing in extra. Do you believe that makes a difference? If you see a homeless individual that's begging on the street, what do you give them? Do you give them money? Do you give them food? Do you buy them the newspaper from them? What do you do?
All the above.
Okay.
The thing that you do more than anything is to stop and engage. Stop and say hello.
So even talk, not just hear, but say, what's your name?
Yes.
Treat them like a human, like you would literally anybody else.
Like you would exactly. It's kind of like you say that. I talk to people all the time, and I've bought from the contributor before, and I don't always engage. Sometimes you're in traffic and you can't.
Sure, and that's understandable. But stop and talk to people. Recognize the humanity.
Get to know them a bit.
We have lost that in dealing with homelessness.
It's funny, when you do get to know someone, there was someone well-known who used to be out with his big, beautiful white dog over there on Lebanon Road at the Target and Kohl's there on the intersection. And you got to know him and got to know our dog. And my wife and I would bring down not only money for him, but dog food for his dog. And I forget his name. A lot of you probably know who I'm talking about. But when you get to know him, all of a sudden, then you all of a sudden sit down one day and realize, well, is he homeless? And he ended up getting shelter. You're like, I'm not going to let a friend of mine be homeless, period. Right. That's not going to happen. But I don't know these people. And you said sometimes you kind of can just kind of push it to the side in your mind if you don't take the time to get to know them. You got to engage.
No, that's exactly right, which is one of the differences in Open Table and other organizations. And look, all the organizations who are working in this space, in this community, do a great job.
Yeah.
We want our folks to be our friend. We want to befriend them. We want them to know that we care about them on a level that's not just, I'm going to give you something, but a level of, how can I help you get what you need? And how can I build a relationship with you so that you trust that I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, and I'm going to help you as best I can.
And then they'll try to make a change to better their lives. Paula, thank you for coming on. India, you too. Really appreciate it. You guys keep up the good work, all right? Thank goodness for both of you, all right?
Appreciate that.
I'll be back, programming note, right after this. Stay with us. Thank you, guys.